At 5:17 a.m., the bow gun of the USS Gravely shuddered in the sound of shifting steel. No one needed to ask why. The order came through the SIS Condition 3, all stations to battle readiness. On the radar screen, 3 unknown signals from the southwest were closing in fast in tight formation, intent unknown. Speed increased. The signals became clear. Sierra 1, 2, 3, flying the Venezuelan flag. On the bridge, the captain didn't need to shout. A single glance was enough. Orders rippled through the decks. Unlock the ammo storage, disengage safeties, put on helmets, stand by. The ship shifted from calm to absolute alert. Inside the Combat Information Center, the targets were locked at 28 knots, bearing 243, converging. The 127mm gun turned slightly, just enough to warn, not to fire. Visual confirmation. Unclear. Possibly high-speed patrol craft. Light load. No sign of heavy armament, only speed and intent. The operator on the other side clearly knew how to approach without crossing the line. Gravely's electronic warfare suite powered up, sweeping the entire spectrum, collecting every emission. On deck, sailors gazed toward the horizon where dawn had yet to break, the sea stirring gently like the breath of steel. No one saw a clear shape, only movement water trails slicing long lines. They'd faced similar encounters before, but never with Caracas this furious, this close to international waters. Today's order wasn't stand by, but show presence. Another way to say cold warning. The combat officer leaned over the display, the 3 targets now only 12 nautical miles away and closing. He said quietly, "Recommend marking as hostile intent, pending confirmation." The captain replied curtly, "Maintain course. Weapons ready, but hold fire." The entire ship seemed to hold its breath as everyone slid into position. The gunner checked the loading system. The CIWS hydraulic engine spun up, the metallic hum ringing like a warning. Below deck, the engines thrummed underfoot as the ship entered full combat readiness. They had drilled hundreds of times, but never with real flags flying on the other side. Reports came rapid fire over comms. Targets accelerating to 29 knots. Interception in 4.6. The helmsman held steady. The international boundary was less than 3 nautical miles away. One small mistake could turn a patrol into provocation. Binoculars swept the horizon, finding only a tense sheet of still water. On the bridge, the captain's voice was low. "Maintain full turbine power. Prepare for maneuvering." Everyone knew this was no drill. The USS Gravely wasn't here by chance. For 2 months, U.S. Navy and Coast Guard forces had been patrolling the southern Caribbean in Operation Sentinel South to cut off smuggling routes. On paper, it was a maritime security mission, but everyone knew it was a message. Washington is watching. 4 days earlier, a USS Gravely Navy helicopter intercepted 2 speedboats carrying weapons and narcotics bound for Curacao. One was sunk after repeated warnings. Caracas called it aggression. The Pentagon called it law enforcement. Now, the Venezuelan Navy was responding, testing the line between defense and provocation. The USS Gravely, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, 155 meters long, was one of the fleet's most sophisticated warships. Its Spy-1D radar could track over 100 targets simultaneously, while the Aegis system linked directly to Allied aircraft overhead. That very power made encounters like this dangerous. One misunderstanding, and the escalation curve could shoot straight up. The Venezuelan patrol boats were likely of the Guaycamacuto class, small, fast, lightly armed, designed not to win, but to force the opponent to choose, back down or shoot first. In the U.S. Southern Command, they call these situations controlled friction, still politics, until it isn't. For the sailors aboard Gravely, diplomacy felt distant. The only thing clear to them was that the threat was now within 10 nautical miles. All of Gravely's critical systems were running at maximum. The 127mm Mark 45 gun at the bow was on standby, barrel aimed southwest, ready to obliterate a fast craft in an instant if needed. Below deck, the hum of engines, sensors, and the heat of metal blended into the feeling that the ship itself was holding its breath. Nearby, the Mark 15 phalanx, nicknamed Sea Whiz, stood ready to spit 4,500 rounds per minute. It was the last line of defense, turning incoming missiles into metal dust. Sailors called it angry steel, and one wrong decision could make it roar. In the Combat Information Center, the Aegis system fused radar, sonar, and electronic signals into one complete picture. Everyone saw the same frame of data: bearing, speed, distance of every target. The SLQ-32V3 electronic warfare system listened silently for radar emissions. So far, nothing unusual. Above, the sharpest eye was preparing to join the MH-60R Seahawk helicopter, callsign Romeo. That multi-purpose aircraft could hunt submarines, scan surface ships, and deploy sonar buoys both ears and eyes of the destroyer. The deck crew received the order to start. Rotors unfolded, tie-downs were released. Each movement calm, precise, but everyone knew. One more order, and the ship would shift into real combat posture. At 5:19, Seahawk lifted off, its twin engines roaring through the morning mist. The crew's call sign was Razor 2-1. Mission: observe, not engage. Banking south, the infrared camera locked onto the 3 Venezuelan patrol boats moving in a loose V formation, carving white trails across the mirror-flat sea. From above, the crew saw every detail: national flags, sensor masts, figures on deck. The lead vessel carried a cylindrical structure behind the cabin, likely a navigation radar. No open gun mounts detected, but that didn't mean they were unarmed. Under the early light, every motion looked deliberate and defiant. Razor 2-1 to Gravely. Confirmed 3 hulls, stable formation, speed 28 knots. Copy, maintain visual. The camera switched to thermal mode, revealing 5 heat signatures on each vessel: 3 in the bridge, 2 midship, 1 aft, all gazing toward the silent American destroyer holding position in the distance. Below, USS Gravely held its course. The Spy 1D radar tracked the targets with centimeter precision, but did not lock on, because even that gesture could turn defense into provocation. The captain's intended message was clear: "We see you." The Romeo helicopter orbited wide, quietly asserting control. Now it was a silent standoff. At 5:22, the distance shrank to 5 nautical miles, close enough for Venezuelan sailors to read the numbers on the U.S. hull, close enough for those on Gravely to feel their pulse quicken. No one spoke, but everyone understood: one wrong move, and this sea could ignite. The bridge initiated radio contact. Venezuelan naval vessel, this is a United States warship operating in international waters. You are closing in too fast. Alter your course immediately. The message went out in English, then Spanish. Silence. Seconds stretched. Then a report. Lead vessel still accelerating 29 knots, 4.8 to intercept. The captain's voice remained calm. Display alert posture. All topside systems to observation mode. Do not activate target lock. On deck, the Sea Whiz turret rotated slightly, its barrel catching the dawn. The 127mm gun swung broadside, letting the Venezuelan crew see the message clearly. "We're ready, but we don't want to shoot." Finally, a reply came, thick Venezuelan accent. "This is a Venezuelan Navy patrol vessel. You are operating near our territorial waters. State your mission." Aboard Gravely, the communications officer answered curtly, "We are in compliance with international law, maintaining a safe distance." The opposing vessel slowed to 20 knots, holding parallel to the destroyer's starboard side. The gap between them was now just 3.6 nautical miles. The two ships ran side by side, as if dancing a dangerous waltz on the sea. Neither crossed the line, but everyone knew a single nudge could spark a fire. On Gravely, binoculars tracked every wave. Each splash sounded like a warning beat. Every sailor knew the rules of engagement. It's easier to start a war than to explain how it began. Under U.S. Navy orders, they could only fire upon clear hostile action or intent. A fast approach wasn't enough. Even radar lock might not qualify as a threat without accompanying weapon signals. So Gravely held its course. Radar kept scanning. Cameras kept recording, but the missile hatches stayed sealed. Geography was the issue. The destroyer was 14 nautical miles off Venezuela's coast, still international, yet too close for political comfort. Caracas claimed extended sovereignty under the Bolivar Security Zone, a concept Washington never recognized. That's why these parallel runs happen so often. Each side acted within its rights, yet both knew the truth lay in interpretation. Legally, Gravely was in the clear. Morally, the crew wanted only one thing: not to become tomorrow morning's headline because of a single misstep in this suffocating moment. That is the paradox of deterrence, showing power by not using it. And at that moment, restraint was the only weapon that mattered. At 5:34, the 3 Venezuelan patrol boats began turning east. No words, no signal of farewell, just silently departing as if to say, "We've said enough." USS Gravely held course and speed, logging every detail of the encounter: routes, radio traffic, engine output, even gun barrel temperature. Everything was stored and transmitted to Southern Command before sunrise. Overhead, the Seahawk made one last orbit, its camera capturing the Venezuelan ships fading into the horizon. From above, the crew watched the 3 small ships regroup, skimming the coastline at reduced speed. In Washington, analysts would dissect every frame. Was this a reaction test, a political message, or merely a quick retaliation after a string of anti-smuggling operations that embarrassed Caracas? For Gravely's crew, it no longer mattered. They had completed their mission, followed the rules, and prevented a confrontation from turning real. But the officers knew the true nature of the event: a warning shot without ammunition, a reminder expressed through action, not words. Next time those ships appear, they might not turn away so easily. This wasn't an attack nor an accident. It was a message, clear and deliberate. Those Venezuelan patrol boats didn't stumble into a U.S. destroyer's path by chance. Every move at sea carries meaning, and every reaction, even silence, helps redefine the balance of power in the Caribbean. Next time, someone might come a little closer. Maybe one side will blink first. Or maybe this silent chess game will finally erupt into real thunder. So, if you were the commander aboard Gravely that morning, would you stay silent or show your strength? Leave your answer below in the comments. And if you want to sail with us, join the crew. You'll get your own badge, priority replies, and help us bring more real naval stories to the screen. Thanks for watching. Fair winds, calm seas, and remember, coffee always tastes better after a near-war encounter.